Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to your May reading. So the first of the month itself, we have Pluto going retrograde in your zodiac, and it was in Aquarius for the last 1 month, so all of April. And now it is going retro, which means that we need to look inward a little bit more and we need to discover our inner reserves of power and kind of our sense of transformation as well. So some things could have cropped up already in April that you're having to take another look at. The downsides of that is that it's hard to create changes, but it is important to look a little bit deeper and keep digging a little bit deeper in order to uncover our true selves, especially when it's falling in your first house. Next, we have a lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And this one falls in your 10th house of career and also your goals, ambitions, your public reputation as well. So there can be some changes that come in here, some culmination that happen, and eclipses bring about some fateful shifts and play out in the coming 4 to 6 months. So I will make a zodiac specific reading for this one. We also had a solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, which is kind of the other side of the coin of this particular eclipse here. So I've already made a zodiac reading for that. So if you're curious and you have not checked it out, please do so. Okay, then on the 7th, we have Venus moving into Cancer, and over here she's very blissful. She prioritizes peace and family as well. For you, it falls in your 6th house of your daily routines, your lifestyle, and also the work that you do on an everyday basis. Perhaps you're taking up some exercise habits that make you feel good, not so much about pushing yourself and so on, but it's just it has to make you feel good at the end of the day. You can also be upgrading your lifestyle in some way. There could be some bonuses from your workplace coming up too, especially when we combine the eclipse energy. Both of them are in a harmonious angle, so it brings in some sort of opportunity. The change itself might be a little bit uncomfortable for you because it's at a square aspect, it's another fixed sign, but whatever changes are being presented here, take them as opportunities because they bring you a lot of creativity and fulfillment, also a sense of creation in your life. Next, we have finally Mercury moving direct on the 15th of the month. It went retrograde on the 21st of April, and now on the 15th it turns ahead. And the things that we discover during the retrograde phase, the lessons that we learn, and whatever it is that you deal with, either mentally or otherwise, is going to start taking effect in a very external sense. For you, Taurus falls in your 4th house of home, family, and your private self. So there could be some realizations that you've had around this time, especially with Pluto also retro and all of these eclipse energies going on while Mercury is retrograde. A lot of this has been impacting all of us kind of more internally. But as Mercury goes direct and also Jupiter is moving into Taurus right the next day, all of this kind of brings it out to the surface, and we can kind of implement new rules or new structures in place to take advantage of everything that we've learned, basically. Now, Jupiter moving into Taurus is highly beneficial in a financial sense, but also for you, it is about stability in your home situation. Perhaps you would want to work from home more, or you find yourself a lot more relaxed and that you can pace yourself or focus much better when you're staying at home. So you might think of some sort of upgrades and other forms of growth that you can do behind the scenes or just by yourself. It can also talk about some expansion happening in your family as well. So new additions could come in, or your parents could have some sort of boost in finances or other forms of stability and enhancement in, self-worth and health and things like that as well. So on the 19th, we have the new moon in Taurus, and this is a very nice time to plant your intentions. You might find yourself a little bit more sensitive around this time, in a sense, a little bit more calm. You could get some information, some guidance messages could also come through here while you meditate or spend some time in silence, most likely right before you go to sleep or things like that when you are really relaxed, okay? So watch out for those things because they can have some revelations about what would actually make your life much better, or it can make you feel more stable, secure, safe, and comfortable. It's a generally feel-good vibe that I get for you, even if it's at a square aspect. there's a lot of focus in the home space, so it can be like a new home you might get, or a new idea. You have to improve your space so that you feel much more like yourself, much more comfortable, things like that. Okay, so take it as an advantage here. On the 20th, we have Mars moving into Leo. This falls in your 7th house of partnerships and one-to-one connections, which correspond to clients as well. And Mars over here can indicate some sort of contention that happens, or, there's a lot of activity here that can lead to a little bit of a stress, because it can talk about burnouts, for example, or it can be just, there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement, but, that's also exhausting at the end of the day. Right, so watch out for that. Try to balance things with, your logical side of things, and take the other people's thoughts as with a bit of a grain of salt, honestly, because in Leo, Mars can really flare itself up. It can be like, oh, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, and things like that, where, the dramatic side of Leo could come out a little bit more. At the same time, you can meet people that are very passionate and very driven and ambitious as well. And that can be very exciting and kind of encourages, motivates you as well to follow up on those same things. Perhaps there's a lot to gain from other people. And while that's not always fun to see, that someone else has something going on that you would like to have, but you are not able to cultivate by yourself, you can still, gather from them as to how they go about doing things, and kind of take inspiration and apply it in your own way, right? You're still very unique, you're still very original, but whatever you get from other people, you can kind of transform that to make sense to your life, right? So there's a lot to get out of it. But yes, keep in mind, Mars and Leo can be a little bit egotistical, a little bit overconfident on the shadow sides. And like I mentioned, the positive sides are just really, really great. If you're wanting to make some moves and approach someone in a romantic context, there's a lot of chemistry and passion that's available here. You're likely to find a lot of partners, but are more likely to kind of hit it off with one person. There's like a special someone, you feel that sense of fire and passion that comes in here. And same goes with like client relationships. You might find a project that's just super exciting and it unleashes your creative side. Next, we have on the 21st, the Sun moving into Gemini, and that's when the zodiac season shifts from Taurus season to Gemini. So you're more focused in terms of logic, communication, translation of your ideas into something creative, which is expressing you in a more, a dynamic sense. Okay, Gemini is like, it can speak, it can listen, it reads, it writes. It's like a whole bunch of different toolkits that it has. Because it's in your 5th house, there's a lot of dynamism that is sparking up for the month ahead for you. This can also talk about your children, if you have any, learning something new and they're very passionate about learning that, expressing themselves newly. And this can even be that they're learning new things about themselves, and they might be wondering about their place in the world and things like that as well. So you can give them a little bit of context over here. Also can talk about your dating life. There can be some interesting conversations that you have around here, or you're wanting to have like a mental stimulation, a nice banter you want to have with someone, and it's likely that you're hitting it off with someone here, whether or not you're with a person right now or not. And by the way, this one-on-one relationship that I was talking about with Leo, that can correspond with like best friends as well, whoever you kind of connect with on a more close level here. Okay, so there's scope for having new hobbies, lots of new, connections as well, if that's something you're seeking. So there's a lot more aspects going on throughout the month. I will not get into them over here, but I will post about them in my community page so you can check it out. All right, so let's get into your cards. We have, when I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. I'm just going to turn over all of them and then we'll get into it. The first major highlight is horseshoe with good luck. Next, we have the second major highlight as a need of help, assistance, and guidance. Yeah, this can be you or someone else asking for guidance. We'll see the cards and kind of see where you lie. Then we have the most difficult part of a situation is over with the rainbow. That's nice. Next, we have creator water. Yeah, up until the 20th, Mars is in Cancer, and that's in your 6th house. plus with Venus over there, Venus and Mars both being in Cancer, it can be an emotional time for you. You might want an emotional connect with the work that you do, or throughout your day you would like to connect with water or with your maternal side, or respect and care for your divine feminine. Perhaps you're incorporating some sort of meditation or self-care routines as well. Next, we have Get Back to Elemental, which talks about returning to the basics and taking care of the foundation. And we have the Spark of Hustle, which indicates that busy vibe that we were getting. I really like the combination here. We have the Divine Feminine, we have the Masculine as well, and we're talking about the basics of things. So there is a chance of connecting with someone on a very deep and primal level. You just absolutely adore them from the get-go. Of course, your logical side is then going to be like, oh, hang on, that's not very practical. Let's see this through. Let's understand one another better before I get too much in my feelings or my passion over here. And that's completely okay. Use your, whatever it is that you do, follow that if it makes you happy. But whenever you do get a scope or a chance to make an actual connection, whether it is friends or business or romantic, just go for it, because if you're enjoying it, the universe is going to support you around this time. Also, I'm getting that you have a lot of creative energy. It's as though you can, if you already do something creative, you can create some of the best stuff. Okay, so watch out for inspiration. We have the Six of Wands, very nice one to start off with. Then we have the Knight of Cups, again very romantic, but also super creative and spiritual. We have the Three of Pentacles. This can indicate very harmonious teamwork, but you might be in a leader position here in some capacity. We have the Knight of Swords, and we have the King of Pentacles, very nice. Financially, it's looking quite strong. Okay, so regardless of whether you have a steady career or you have business as a career option, it's looking pretty good. You're discovering new things, you're implementing new techniques, or showcasing yourself in a different way. You're just curious to discover a lot more facets of yourself and whatever it is that you do. There's just a lot of interest and spark that's coming through here. And in terms of connections as well, you are likely to meet someone who is on your wavelength, is quite grounded and practical as well, but can have a very smart conversation with you. They're also you might be admiring this person over here, okay, because they've achieved a lot, or they have dealt with a lot of difficult things, and they have taken advantage of many different situations. So you're admiring someone here, and you're like, hey, I know. You're kind of taking inspiration from that person or the people that surround you in this month, in order to build yourself to the same standard here, or actually do it in your own original way rather. Okay, but seeing that light, or understanding what you can do to get yourself out of situations that are not your most favorite, that's absolutely coming through here. And it's also very likely that you are implementing the changes already. All right, now those of you who are, actually this is in general, actually this is not about specific people, but you are in a position to guide as well. You have your own skills and so on, right? So you are expressing that a lot more. You're not just keeping it to yourself, you're showcasing it more, you're a lot more confident about that. And I think you're getting a lot of recognition from others as well. For any type of relationship, honestly, there has to be an interaction between the two, right? So it's not just you admiring someone, it is also another person admiring you and your abilities, your strengths and talents, and so on and so forth, which gives you that extra boost of confidence and motivation to keep on going, doing what you really enjoy. And what else? The Knight of Swords can talk about travel, or you're desiring to travel with the Knight of Cups. So you might be making a promise or a future plan that you want to change. Let's say you want to add travel to your everyday, or rather every month maybe, or every 6 months. Maybe you have certain goals related to that that can come to fruition. Also, you might be delving a little bit deeper. This one's a little bit more serious, but you're delving deeper into the root of the problems. So things that come up during the eclipses, it might need further investigation, especially because Mercury is retro. But whatever it is you discover at the very depths of yourself is going to be changing the way that you experience your world, basically. Because all this earth energy, we're talking about Taurus here, which is at the very base of your chart, right? So anything that changes in there, the change itself is not visible to other people, but it is very deeply felt by you, and it might even be very hard to explain to someone who's not walking in your shoes here. Okay, but those things are very profound, and that leads to major changes in every other area of life. The way that you talk, the type of people you attract, the type of presentation that you make yourself, the career paths you choose, your belief system, your thought process, your feelings, your finances, just about everything is then impacted when the base of you is changing, right? And what it is transforming into is a very wonderful blend of practicality, logic, and emotion. All right, and you're having a lot of fun because you feel balanced. The Three of Pentacles talks about the harmonious collaboration, not only of people and teams, but in general, the mind, body, and the soul, the logic and the practicality and the emotion. The spirit is a part of this whole equation. Does it feel right? Does it feel fulfilling to me? You know, is it like that I'm doing the same things as always, but you know, there's just something blah about it. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that I need to change. That search for the inspiration is bringing you to certain realizations over here that makes you feel very secure for the future to come. You also have a lot more faith in yourself to be able to build the dreams that you've wanted to achieve. And you're going for it. The Knight of Swords is not hesitant in any measure. There's no hesitation. And same with the Knight of Cups over here. It's like, I have a feeling, I'm going to go for it. Meanwhile, with the Knight of Swords, I have an idea, I'm going to go for it. There's no hesitation because you have the resources, you have the support, you have the belief in yourself, and you're also receiving external validation here that this just, you can just go for it, basically. Start working from the ground up. Make sure that your foundations, your intentions, all of those things are, directed along the same trajectory, and just go for it. With the spark of hustle, go for it and make it happen. That's basically that. Wow. All right. Aquarius, please, for the month of May, how does it look? What else can you know? I'm more likely, by the way, thinking, hang on, we have the Sun, Capricorn in the third house. But the assistance thing, I was thinking that other people might be asking for it, but they might not be very, how would it be? Like, there is a little bit of a pride. Like, they don't want to ask it directly. Okay, but they're talking about it to you because you might be able to help. So just, just remember that if somebody comes off a little bit brash, or like, hey, I don't know how to do this, you take care of it, or something that just sounds very short, and you might think that someone's angry, but it's just how they're coming across at this time. But their intention is that I don't know how to do this, and I don't like myself that I am not able to do this, but I know you can, so maybe you can help me out, right? So that's like another thing to keep in mind. People with Mars and Leo, people can come across more flared up or angry, even if they're not intending to, okay? All right, now the Sun, Capricorn in the third house, it talks about that harmonious teamwork thing that I was talking about. There can also be some collaborative vibe in the neighborhood or the local community you have. You're in general quite humanitarian, okay, and you try to help in a very logical sense. It's not so much about the touchy-feely stuff, although you can get quite that as well. But, you have very constructive ways to think about blanket changes, big picture thinking, and all of that. So that is a perspective that can help people who are dealing with some sort of hurdles around here. So you might find people coming to you for your expertise or your thoughts on things. And at the same time, you could also be collaborating with more experienced people around you, or elder people who can give you some sort of life advice, perhaps a different way to, look at things, thought process shifts, mindset shifts, the things that you say to yourself about your career goals, ambitions, tenacity, all of these things. There is definitely some sort of growth and achievement that's coming to you as a result of these simultaneous changes that's happening. And I'm sensing so much of like internal change, the personal conscious change, and then there's also the external shifts. It's like 3 layer at least, all right? But ultimately it's creating a lot of growth for you. So that's awesome. One more, please, for Aquarians. And this can even be like thought processes that you have been struggling with from the past, okay? Now with Pluto and Gemini in the 12th house, your self-sabotaging belief systems or thought patterns, that is about to be transformed here. You can even get some vivid dreams around this time that gets you thinking about the symbolism. If you see a lot of water, by the way, it talks about the subconscious processing things. Maybe search about the symbolism you find, the animals you might see, or the quality of the water and things like that. That can give a lot of information. Or if you're like seeing yourself flying or something, even then maybe check the quality of everything. If you get like vivid dreams and you happen to remember them, right? But even if you're not remembering these things, it's like your unconscious or your spiritual self is kind of giving you some sort of messages. If you meditate or introspect or spend any time secluded and non-stimulated, you're likely to acquire a lot of these guidances, and they can be quite creative in nature as well, because Gemini sits in your 5th house, and yeah, this can be like ideas that were like right there but they just never clicked together, and they suddenly click, or it's just fresh new inspiration that just comes from somewhere, and it just kind of turns the tables in a way. You're like very excited about this, you're very passionate and driven about it, and of course it requires some sort of effort in order to realize it in a tangible sense, but you're willing to put the work into it because it's a very nice idea. Okay? So connection with spirit is like really good. Even if you want to do some sort of inner work, it's like a perfect time to do this. And also to create meaningful change. It's not like we uncover the problem and then we sit with it and we're like, what, now what, right? You're able to transform it and get out of it as well. So that's what I have for you, Aquarians. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading helps you out and resonates with you as well. Please let me know your thoughts. If you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box and the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.